How's it going, my peeps? It is now time for the Raw results slash highlights and review video. I'll go over the results, some of the highlights in my opinion, and give you guys my thoughts, my review on the show. So it kicks off with Triple H, Stephanie McMahon, and Kane coming out. And while Stephanie and Triple H are making their way down the ramp, or, down the ring, whatever, Kane's giving away some candy canes. And then they go in the ring. Pretty much, they wish everybody a happy holiday. And also, they announce a few matches like Mark Henry versus Damien Sandow, Bad Santa versus Good Santa, and also a 6-man tag team match, Cody Rhodes, Goldust, and Daniel Bryan versus the Wyatt Family, a few other matches, and then Randy comes out, and he says he's got a present for Triple H and Stephanie, and that present is wrapped in gold, and it's the WWE World Heavyweight Champion. So, to himself, and then he thanks them for giving him a night off. And that was pretty much it. The segment ends with Kane actually doing his old pyro, raising his arms up and raising them down, or not raising them down, lowering them down, and the pyro is going off in the ring. And after that was the first matchup, which was I think it was a 12 Diva tag team matchup, all the Total Divas versus the non-Total Divas, but AJ Lee was on commentary. And the best part of the match was the commentary by AJ. In the matchup, there was just a spot that was just like awkward, a little bit embarrassing, I don't know, it was like, you had Natalya grabbing a Diva by the arm, and then they would, freaking like skip around in a circle in the ring, and then the person that's hanging to Natalya's arm would clothesline one of the opposing team's divas, and then another diva would get in the ring. I think it was Nikki, the third one, or something like that, and she would hang off or grab one of the other diva's arm, and she would clothesline another diva, and then eventually all of the Total Divas were like grabbing each other's arm, just skipping around the ring in a circle and clotheslining whoever came inside the ring. In the end, Natalya locks on the sharpshooter and gets the victory. I think she locked down the sharpshooter on Aksana, and Aksana tapped out. Curtis Axel then took on Sin Cara, and Sin Cara cut a promo before the matchup. Not a promo like live in the ring, but they showed one of those, like, when somebody makes their entrances and they're like, hey, and this is what's this person had to say early on tonight. So you had Sin Cara wishing everybody happy holidays, but the thing is, he was speaking in English, and the old Sin Cara, as far as I remember, he didn't speak any English. But anyways, yeah, it was Sin Cara versus Curtis Axel. Sin Cara actually ended up winning the matchup after hitting the Swanton Bomb. So Sin Cara so far is on a roll right now. He's picking up victories left and right. After that, they showed some replays from SmackDown of the main event, The Shield versus John Cena and CM Punk, where Biggie and Langston made the save in the end. And after that was the big announcement. The coolest part. You had a video package hyping up Batista's return. So it's confirmed now, Batista is indeed going to return. He's going to be returning January the 20th on Raw. So it's a Raw right before the Royal Rumble. So I think it's pretty safe to say Batista is going to be in the Royal Rumble matchup. I was pretty excited from that, video package right there. And afterwards, they also showed some replays from SmackDown where the Wyatt family attacked Daniel Bryan backstage. And then they had a matchup. It was Cody Rhodes, Goldust, and Daniel Bryan versus the Wyatt family in a 6-man tag team match. And have a pretty good tag team match too. And then you had Goldust, jumping from the apron onto, I believe it was Eric Rowan. And in the ring, you had Luke Harper and Cody Rhodes. Cody goes for, actually before he goes for the disaster kick, Bray Wyatt tags himself in, but Cody doesn't see it. So then Cody hits the disaster kick on Luke Harper, and then Bray Wyatt quickly gets in the ring, locks Cody Rhodes into, in position for Sister Abigail. He hits it, covers him, wins the match. Right after the match is over, Goldust gets in the ring, I guess, to check on Cody, but Luke Harper hits a discus clothesline on him, and then Eric Rowan who's on the outside. He grabs Daniel Bryan, and I believe he shoves him onto the barricade, but then he grabs him, puts him in the ring. They beat him down a little bit, and you hear Bray Wyatt talking about Bryan joining him, and then the lights go out, and then they're no longer in the ring, but actually they're in front of the ring on the outside with Bray Wyatt sitting on the rocking chair with Luke and Eric next to him. They also had Wade Barrett on the streets asking for money for charity. And also they had a Christmas carol, and it involved Xavier Woods and R-Truth as a team, and also Jinder Mahal and Drew McIntyre, as well as Santino and the Great Khali. So they all sing, and R-Truth, Xavier Woods get cheered. Drew McIntyre, Jinder Mahal get booed, and Santino and the Great Khali get cheered. Great Khali, the only thing he would sing was just say la 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 or whatever. So, anyways, winners end up being Santino and the Great Khali after the match, but it's not really a matchup. After the singing competition, the Christmas Carol, you had Drew McIntyre and Jinder Mahal attack the Great Khali and Santino, but R-Truth and Xavier Woods helped them out, and then Santino hits the Cobra on, I believe it was Drew McIntyre. And after that, there was a Christmas gift on a pole match, and pretty much it was Fandango versus Dolph Ziggler. Whoever got to the gift first would get that gift, and that gift was a shot at the Intercontinental Championship next week on Raw against Big E Langston. So right off the bat of the match, both of them tried to just run towards, the pole, the turnbuckle, and try and grab the grip, but they took each other off the turnbuckle. In the end, though, while they're both, on the top turnbuckle, Fandango grabs Dolph Ziggler by the hair or by the head and smashes Dolph's head onto the pole. Dolph falls outside the ring face first onto the steel steps. Fandango grabs the gift, and he wins the match, so he gets an Intercontinental Championship match next week. And then after that, you see the primetime players in the ring. Darren Young wants to talk because he says Titus O'Neil always talks. And then right away when he grabs the microphone, he botches something. And he says that they're in Houston when they're actually in Austin. So the crowd boos to that. And then Titus O'Neil says all they want for Christmas is, a shot at the tag team titles and a few other things. And then the Usos come out for a matchup. So it's the Usos versus the primetime players. And it was actually a pretty entertaining match for the time it got, I thought. And the Usos end up winning the match. In the end, one of the Usos puts a reindeer nose, and then he hits the splash on, I think it was on Darren Young. And then after that, you had the Good Santa versus Bad Santa match, so Mark Henry versus Damien Sandow. It was kind of a no disqualification match where they kind of used weapons. It wasn't your ordinary weapons. I mean, in the beginning, Mark Henry put Damien Sandow's head inside the toilet. And then they went up the stage where Damien Sandow grabbed a big candy cane and hit Mark Henry with it on the back. But then they got back in the ring, and a few moments afterwards, Mark Henry hits the World's Strongest Slam. After he wins the matchup, he starts opening a few gifts. One of them is a box of cupcakes. So he grabs it and shoves the cupcakes right in Damien Sandow's face. And then backstage, you have Renee Young interviewing CM Punk about his issues with the Shield. And he says all he wants, for Christmas, he made a list of tag team partners or something like that. And he got his wish granted. So he introduces his tag team partners. He introduces Big E first, and then John Cena. John Cena starts talking about how, Roman Reigns, he needs a big ending. Seth Rollins, he just wants an attitude adjustment. And Dean Ambrose, he's been awake for a while, so all he needs is to go to sleep. And then they put their fists together, kind of like the Shield does, and that was it for that. And then you have the Real Americans versus Los Matadores. Before the match, Zeb Coulter cuts some promo, and he says, technically Santa Claus is an illegal immigrant, but the difference between Santa and half of you in the crowd is that Santa only comes once a year. So as far as the match goes, it was actually an entertaining matchup. The Los Matadores pulled off some neat maneuvers, and in the end, El Torito hit like a gore right on Antonio Cesaro's crotch, and then Los Matadores jumped from the top turnbuckle and hit a crossbody on Jack Swagger for the 1-2-3, so Los Matadores beat the Real Americans. And also at some point in the match, Antonio Cesaro did swing one of the Los Matadores for a good amount of time, and then he kind of rolled out the ring. And when he rolled out the ring, the Los Matadores did something I think they didn't do before, which is they kind of switched out. One of them pretended to be the one that got, swung by Antonio Cesaro, so he just laid on the outside, but he was actually the one that was on the apron and not the legal man. So Antonio Cesaro got outside the ring, grabbed him, put him back in the ring, and obviously, he's playing possum, so once Antonio Cesaro got back in the ring, he rolled him up, but Antonio Cesaro kicked out. So I'm not sure if they're going to, start doing that as a regular thing, like the Bellas used to do before. But anyways, after that, it was Kofi Kingston versus Ryback, and Ryback won the matchup. I was expecting maybe Kofi to pull off like a surprise victory, but Ryback wins with the shell shock. I kind of like the ending. You had Kofi Kingston, Kofi Kingston had Ryback in the corner in the turnbuckle, and he started punching him, and Ryback grabbed him like a powerbomb position, and then he threw him backwards onto the turnbuckle, so Kofi landed face first on the turnbuckle. Ryback then ran the ropes, hit the meat hook clothesline, followed that up with the shell shock, and won the match. Afterwards, they show Bad News Barrett at ringside, and he's got the bucket where he was collecting, in which he was collecting money in, and he says, he's been collecting money all day in this fine city, and that he's raised thousands of dollars, and the crowd cheers. And then he says, but now it's time for the bad news. And he says he's not affiliated with any charities, so that money is going to him. And after that, you have The Shield cutting a promo on their matchup against CM Punk, Biggie Langston, and John Cena. And Roman Reigns says that, tonight, Biggie Langston is the target. And he ends the promo by saying, believe in the Shield. And then you have CM Punk, John Cena, and Biggie making their entrances, followed by the Shield. And the match begins. Match was pretty good. Biggie Langston was the one to get the hot tag in the end. And of course, as always, in tag team matches towards the end, you have, chaos, everybody in the ring. So, you had John Cena catching Seth Rollins, who jumped from the top turnbuckle into an AA. But Roman Reigns speared John Cena right before John could hit the Attitude Adjustment. And I like the spear, because when he speared John Cena, he still had Seth Rollins on his shoulder, and Seth Rollins kind of jumped jumped off of Cena's shoulders when Reigns hit the spear on Cena. And Biggie Langston was on a roll once he got in, taking everybody out. And he set up Dean Ambrose for the big ending, and he hit it. Goes for the cover, but then Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins get in the ring, and they start attacking Biggie Langston, so referee calls it a disqualification. After the match, it looks like they're gonna go for like the triple powerbomb on Big E, but CM Punk and John Cena come inside the ring and help him out. Actually, John Cena grabs Roman Reigns from outside the ring and pulls him outside and throws him onto the barricade. And then Cena and CM Punk hit their finishers simultaneously. So I think John Cena hit the Attitude Adjustment on Seth Rollins, while CM Punk hit the Go to Sleep on Dean Ambrose at the same time. And then Big E, CM Punk, and Cena celebrated, and that was it for Raw. So as far as highlights, highlights, man, the video package for Batista. I was so excited when I saw that. I mean, I already read, the rumors about Batista returning, but now this confirms it, and the video package hyped it up even more. So, that is cool. Also, highlights, the main events where, Biggie Langston looked pretty damn strong in the main events. And he was the one to get the hot tag in the end and almost get the victory until, of course, the Shield interfered. And the Usos tag team match, as well as the Wyatts versus Cody, Goldust, and Daniel Bryan, were also some, good tag team matchups. As far as the rest of the show, it was your typical, Christmas episode, either Christmas Raw, Christmas SmackDown. So there wasn't much in terms of like storyline, I guess. So there wasn't much, I guess, matches or anything that furthered the storylines. Nothing too serious, as always with the Christmas episodes. So as far as the rating, I'd probably give Raw tonight like a So somewhere between a 6 to a 6.5. I think that's a pretty fair score for Raw this week. And also guys, stay tuned this week. I'm going to be posting up a lot more gameplay videos, online matches. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, as always, you can click that like button down below. I'd really appreciate it. And with that said, I'm out guys, see ya.